Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to the IoTeX and Unifi protocol live stream, where we're going to be demoing uTrade v2 live on IoTeX. I got Julian with me, CEO and co-founder of Unifi Protocol, and we're just happy to extend our partnership. We've been chatting with Julian and his team for the better part of a year now, launching uTrade v1 successfully earlier this year, and now super happy to see the evolution and just the steady progress of Unifi as they really try to tackle this cross-chain DeFi landscape. But before we dive into too many details, Julian, introduce yourself and share a little bit about what you've been up to with uTrade and Unifi as of late.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing? I'm Julian, like I said, co-founder of Unifi Protocol. Super excited to be here. We've been talking. Ari and I have been talking for years now, years now. Trying to get something to work together. So I'm so excited to finally be here. Just a little bit of background on who we are. We've been in this space since early 2018. Basically founded the organization off of a Reddit post trying to form a community around governance and things like that. So it was super exciting, to kind of see the community respond to kind of staking, more DAO style governance being a popular thing. We grew up pretty quickly. We operated with an all volunteer team for the first 2.5 years until late last year. A couple of the smart contracts we had developed kind of started taking off. That being Unifi specifically. Token got listed on Binance, and now we're expanding to new chains, and we're focused. We're super focused on the community itself. So we're looking for blockchains and partners that support our same core beliefs, which is a strong, active community, transparency, sustainability, and that's where we're building today, and we're excited to be building on IoTeX.
That's really the key about this presentation today. It's really about building and showcasing what has been built, right? You guys are building at such a rapid clip, and not just building little trinkets here and there, but really changing the game and evolving from uTrade to now uStake. Do you want to share a little bit about uStake, which is kind of in the works still, but going to pair well with the existing Unifi ecosystem?
Yeah, I think that just kind of going back to our roots, our focus has kind of shifted. We have our vision is pushed out years into the future. The couple years behind us. Now we're looking a few years ahead, and the name of the game at this point is awareness. We're looking to build our reputation, build out our reputation, and so that's why staking is a big part of that. Staking, I think, is a fantastic bookend for DeFi itself, where you have people that can come in and kind of take a more active position as a liquidity provider. They do subject themselves to some of that impermanent loss style risk, but there's some of those cool DeFi type rewards, which is great. But then you have people that are hardcore IoTeX fans that they don't want to give up or suffer some impermanent loss to their IoTeX holdings, and they want to stake. And so we need to make sure that we provide a very good option there as well. So we're a 100% operating node. That's not our focus as a business. Our focus again is awareness and sustainability. So we are really fixated on providing the best possible service to our community. And there's Matt next. Those are cool guys.
There you go.
So,
shout out.
Yeah, I know those guys. Those guys are cool.
Yeah.
So super excited to be here, and really excited to offer staking as well. I think, as I said before, it gives you the best of both, right? You've got your DeFi side, and staking is a fantastic bookend for that. So
100%, and it's really just applying all of these DeFi primitives and just eventually stringing them all together under the UP token and the UNFI token, right? So I'm not going to steal your thunder. I'm going to let you explain exactly what it is, but just to give people that are tuning in from across the world, thanks so much for joining us. The way this is going to work, we're going to give a little history about what IoTeX and Unifi have been up to this year with uTrade v1. Julian's going to give you a little high-level overview of what uTrade V2 is all about, and then we're going to jump into a live demo where Julian's going to show the brand new user interface and explain some of the new features like single-side liquidity, more optimized order routing, and the developer friendliness of uTrade V2 and IoTeX. And finally, after that, we're going to take some of your questions live. So any questions you have, drop them in the chat, and interact with us throughout this session. It's going to be a fun one. So Julian, what we're talking about today, the big story, Unifi uTrade V2 launches on IoTeX tomorrow. So today is the big preview and end-to-end explanation about what people can expect. But take us through a little bit about what, first of all, what uTrade is and what's new with uTrade V2.
Yeah, so I think that probably the big thing that's going on is Unifi, or I should say uTrade V2 is really the kind of culmination of everything we've put together. It's basically us taking things like our up token, which is designed to be a very sustainable token reward for DeFi, in combination with some of our more unique takes on the smart contracts that we do offer. So obviously we do offer typical liquidity providing smart contracts where you provide two different tokens, you take a share of that pool and you get rewards. One of the key differences that we do offer is when you actually provide liquidity typically inside of an AMM, you would get back your reward as liquidity token or as more value of your LP token, which basically means you're getting it as a share of that, which does subject that reward to a form of impermanent loss because that's coming in as an LP. The thing that we do different is we actually break that reward outside of that contract to some extent. We mint a up token for the user, which is a 100% reserve token, which means that it's backed by IoTeX actually. And we provide that. And what it does is not only does it not subject the user's rewards to impermanent loss, but on top of that, the way that up is structured, it constantly gains and redeem the value. So not only are they not subject to impermanent loss, but they actually pick up a permanent gain as a result. So that's one piece of it. On the flip side of that, version 2 is designed to be very developer friendly. We think that to see these blockchains take off and be successful, a community to be successful, you need to be able to build on top of it. And we are just like IoTeX, we're very open to build, and we want to encourage people to build, aggregators, farms, all kinds of things on top of our system. And our ecosystem is very much designed for that. So this is a major focus that we're taking on here now. Is we want to provide some tools and feedback and utilities to developers to help them build with us and build out these functions and utilities. As I said before, our focus today is awareness, and that's our focus going forward, which means that we actually don't take a transaction fee. So 100% of the fees that go into uTrade version 2 are provided right back to LP providers. So we don't take a cut, which is the same way that we operate our staking as well. And that's all part of encouraging the creation of a more sustainable ecosystem. So
absolutely, the progress of Unifi is really aligning with the progress of IoTeX in a lot of ways, right? Like we're trying to be more interoperable in this multi-chain sense, right? We built bridges to Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum, and most recently Polygon. And Unifi has always had this kind of multi-chain vision, right? The goal to be the cross-chain, de facto cross-chain DeFi provider for the entire industry. Maybe talk a little bit about the importance of multi-chain to Unifi.
Yeah, I mean, cross-chain is something that's pretty hard to do well. We've seen a lot of people try and take this on. I'm kind of fearful of the approach that a lot of people have taken, which is, they do tend to rely on maybe less centralized aspects, or I should say more centralized tools to kind of accomplish that. And from our perspective, there are some very sustainable community-facing ways to do that. But I think that it's key, right? You know, these on-ramps and off-ramps to different blockchains have a huge impact on those ecosystems, and all they do is they force users to trade with tokens they may not want, or expose themselves to blockchains that they may not want to be a part of. And I think that it's extremely important to open up those aspects. So as we continue to build out UniFi, this is going to be a major focus. We built out uTrade now on 8 blockchains, and we're extremely excited about that approach, and we're very excited about the future where those all kind of start to combine and start to work together, so we can see users move funds across different chains, or perform cross-chain trading and things like that. As the lending comes on board, that can kind of bookend with it. So I'm very excited about that.
Absolutely. We're excited too, man. I mean, it's trying to, connect with the top blockchains in the industry. IoTeX itself is experiencing a lot of growth. We have over 600% growth in wallets over the past month. And it's just really a kind of breakout moment that, I think aligns ourselves with already the chains that you're aligned with already, right? Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, the growth in users, that's all just a network effect, right? We're approaching it from a multi-chain perspective. You have all of these users that are interacting with each other directly on individual blockchains, but allowing everyone to interact with each other in this cross-chain capacity is going to just take the industry to the next level. So we buy into the vision. We've definitely enjoyed working with you guys throughout this. And just want to give a little background on what's been done with IoTeX and UniFi to date, right? So back in March, uTrade V1, the first instance of the uTrade protocol from UniFi, was launched on IoTeX, and starting to see a lot of pairs available for trading. And this is the uTrade V1 interface, allowing you to provide liquidity to your favorite pairs, allowing traders to trade, even farming some of these tokens and accumulating up, which is kind of the reward token from these liquidity pools, as Julian mentioned earlier. But uTrade V1 versus uTrade V2, not only did it get a total facelift and under dark mode that all of us enjoy, but the real benefits of uTrade V2 are much more liquidity provider friendly, much more trader friendly, and also, as Julian mentioned, much more developer friendly, right? So single-sided liquidity, you don't have to put 2 pairs of tokens into a pool. You can provide a single-sided liquidity going forward. All fees from the AMM going directly to liquidity providers, which I think is kind of unprecedented in the industry itself. User added listings, you can add any token pair you want to uTrade V2, more efficient order routing, and of course, customizable smart contracts. And that's where the extensibility of this unified protocol on IoTeX is really going to take shape. So, I think just in the next few months, we'll hopefully have some dev bounty or dev challenges that you guys can really dig into the weeds if you're a developer and build on top of these liquidity pools and AMM structures that UniFi has built out so well. So, Julian, I think now is the time. I think everyone wants to see uTrade V2, so I'm going to pass it over to you for this demo. For everyone that is following along, you can follow along. Check out uTrade V2, unifiprotocol.com. Sweet.
All right, so I'll go ahead and just kind of dive right in. It's a very new interface, very new experience. There's a lot more here to kind of go through. So I'm going to just go ahead and just kind of do a very quick walkthrough, and then I'll talk about some of the cool features that are here that Larry was just mentioning. So obviously you can swap. This is a normal kind of swapping as you would expect. We can trade IoTeX for BSC or BUSD on BSC. So I'm doing the trade here on the side. So the swap is going through. This is integrated with MetaMask. That's how I'm using this right now. And we can see some of the basic stats of what's going through, the price impact, slippage, trade fees, and et cetera. So very, very simple to go through and execute a trade. You saw it pop up here as it went through. and I just saw it came through as confirmed in my MetaMask, and there we go. IoTeX to BUSD has been swapped. As Larry mentioned here, we can add liquidity here to any of the pairs that I'm in. You can also make your own pair. You can make a new pair of whatever you want. We can do like a Uni to BSC pair if I had some tokens to kind of do that, and then you can go ahead and list your own pair, make whichever combination that you would like to make, and it'll automatically add. As you put those in, they drop into our liquidity pools here, which you can see. These are just some of the ones that have been made by users today throughout the ecosystem as we kind of build out. This is all live information right now, so these are real numbers, real live on-chain data that we're seeing. This is pre-launch, obviously, so as people come in, they can add their own pools and liquidity. So what you can kind of see here is just some basic information. First off, the up here, this basically means that the pair is able to mint up for liquidity providers. If you build a pair that is with IoTeX or that is with IoTeX token, what can happen is it will automatically be up mintable. If it is not, it can be made up mintable, but that's essentially a parameter that everybody gets as they come in. Some token price information, some APR, APY values. So obviously these are live based off of the trades that have been going on in our non-mainnet form. Getting in some liquidity here, so we can kind of see what's inside of the pair. My contributions, so obviously I've contributed to this pair because we're pre-live right now, and some of the rewards that have come in. So as Larry mentioned before, we actually work in UP token is 100% reserved token, which basically means that it's backed by IoTeX. So this is not like it's not like an Oracle or some kind of off-chain system. This is within the contract of UP. There is IoTeX, and it can just be extracted if UP token is burned. So you would actually have to burn an UP token to get out the IoTeX that backs it. So you can see there, I went ahead and I claimed my 3.5-ish UP. You can also see here there's a super pair. This is not yet live, but basically a super pair is accumulating these rewards, and eventually when it lists as a pair, you'll see it listed as a super pair here, and 100% of those rewards will be available to that pair. That's like a special coming in the future feature. So obviously I've gone in, I've claimed some UP rewards. You can, as I mentioned before, it's a backed token. So if you have it, you can claim your rewards. So it looks like one UP is currently backed by about 2.8 IoTeX. So if I go ahead and I claim that, I will just extract the IoTeX from the contract, and it will burn my UP, and that's it. So the 2.8 number is something people get a little hung up on. Why is it 2.8? That's just where the contract has moved to naturally. The UP token is designed so that it mints fewer UP tokens than the IoTeX it receives. And so what that does is it makes it so the redeem value constantly goes up. A share of every trade goes into it, which pushes the redeem value up. And so it goes up over time. It's currently at 2.8, but for example, on Harmony, which is probably the most exaggerated one, it's at about 44 to 1. Binance is somewhere around 9, if I'm not mistaken. And so yeah, these evolve naturally based on use of the platform. And that's it. This is, like I said, 100% of the UP tokens that are minted go to our liquidity providers. So this is just a system that is built to be sustainable for our community. And that's basically it. So that kind of walks us through the basics here. What I would say is, like Larry said here, we're extremely open to developers, and that's a focus for us. We think that this is a cool system that benefits those that participate in a very sustainable way. We don't give away a valueless token. You give away a token that's backed by those fees. We give away those fees in a in a way that we think is very sustainable. So we're constantly looking for developers. If you have a concept, you want to build on top of this, you want to build an aggregator across the IoTeX ecosystem. There's several AMMs there. That's a great concept. If you want to build farms on top of that, not hard to do. That's something that could be very sustainable. If you have a token and you want to make it and then list it, you can list your token here. Just add the pool and boom, you're done. So that's all there, and there's some very interesting stuff there. And I think that really what we need to be focused on is, how can we trigger that creativity that is going to lead to future IoTeX development. And that's what DeFi has done, right? When Uniswap launched, there weren't farms. That was a outside developer that went, "Ooh, I could do something pretty cool with this. I'm gonna XYZ and build on that." And that's what's pushed a lot of these things forward. So we're hoping that people see these features and go, "Oh, there's something cool that I can do there." And that's what we're looking to encourage.
Absolutely. I just want to recap some of the important points you made there, Julian. One question that a user had is, can we use uTrade basically with MetaMask? And the answer is yes. IoTeX recently launched mainnet version 1.2 and 1.3, which made IoTeX not only upgraded to the latest Ethereum virtual machine EVM instance, but it's also fully Web3 compatible. So it allows you to set IoTeX network as a custom RPC endpoint in MetaMask, so you use it directly. You can also use it with IoPay mobile, and directly experience that uTrade V2 on a mobile experience. So just wanted to clarify that. But I want to get back to something you said, Julian. It's around the tech stack of DeFi. This is something that maybe our community, our IoTeX community, is familiar with, the concept of providing liquidity and trading against that liquidity on dexes like Unifi or uTrade and Mimo. But these concepts you're talking about, farming and lending and kind of the things that build on top of these liquidity pools, we would love to see some of these built on IoTeX and built in partnership with Unifi and IoTeX. So for those that are new, maybe explain to people what this farming concept is, right? You're grabbing these UP tokens that you receive as liquidity provider rewards, and you stake them for extra benefit. But maybe share a little bit about what the projects you would most like to see built on top of Unifi, and maybe we can even issue some grants together.
So we just did a big AMA with ACS. They're actually an aggregator on Binance Smart Chain, and they're doing some super cool stuff. And I think that's part of what blockchains need. And basically all that they do is they say, okay, hey, look, go ahead and stake here. You put your liquidity into, IoTeX, right? So go ahead and do that. And then what that does, once you've put your liquidity there, you get back a token that represents your liquidity. With us, you're going to continually earn up off of that. As you can see, I've got 6.5 up that I can claim here and here. So that's just accumulating within the ecosystem, right? So I can claim that down because I hold that LP token. Well, with an aggregator, what you can actually do, or a farmer or a yield farming system, what you can do is you can actually stake that LP token. And when you do stake that with an aggregator, what they do is they claim your rewards, they break it into its parts. So they would maybe break it into additional IoTeX, and they put it back into the pool, and it compounds your rewards, and they do that continuously. As I did mention, we can actually do single-sided liquidity as well. So if you were to go on in, add liquidity, you can add it as just one token. So you can just do one token, put that in after you approve and push that whole thing through, and that'll break it up and route it in for you as well. And that's basically what you're doing is with an aggregator, you're constantly compounding your rewards, so you can earn more and more and more. So I think that's super cool. I think it's a good way for people to extract some additional value, to constantly build on top of what they've built and move forward. So that's very neat. Lending kind of touches a lot of these things too. One thing I'm super excited to see is flash loans. You know, all of these contracts today, a flash loan can be taken out against right now. You know, and it's just waiting for a developer to come on in and go, oh, there's $3,000 in the DAI pool here. I'm going to borrow against that and use it to arbitrage something and pay it back. And that's just waiting for a developer to come on in and do that with, which is super exciting. So those are all like very cool things that are coming up here in the near future that developers can step in and do. And it's great for the whole ecosystem. I think that's a big part of it. Lending, as you mentioned before, that is a little different. A lot of projects have gone more of the Oracle route or price discovery route. We've been around this space for a bit. We've seen people trip and fall on some things, and we just don't walk those paths. You know, we just don't. We go a different route where there aren't those kinds of obstacles. We like to make sure that things are a bit more solid, and so we get creative with our solutions. So some of the solutions that we have for things like lending are very different, and as those come out and come live on IoTeX, you'll kind of see that the way that we do lending is a bit different than others.
Absolutely, you know, and I think that just to add a little bit to what Julian mentioned, the reason why you should be building using Unifi and IoTeX is because unlike some of the other pure DeFi focused networks out there, I mean, more like general purpose, but a lot of the stuff that's being built on Ethereum, Polygon, Binance Smart Chain today are DeFi related. IoTeX is just getting started with this kind of a DeFi wave, right? So there's a lot of opportunity for first mover advantage. There's over 3.5 billion IoTeX staked on the network, which shows our community's receptiveness to searching for yield in different capacities, right? Other projects like Cyclone have launched with massive APYs and just the next layer of functionality to be built on top of these AMM liquidity pools. There's so much value there, right? So, you know, as IoTeX gains more traction, gains more users, gains more awareness through things like Coinbase listing and things like this, there's so much new attention and new funds that are going to be needing and searching for yield, right? So I think that with everything that Unifi is working on, we invite you to build on top and be part of it, right? There's a lot of opportunity to go around. So it's just something that we're really excited to see.
Yeah, man. Congratulations on the Coinbase listing. That's a huge accomplishment, you know?
Yeah, it's been a long time coming, man. We've been chipping away at it. We're really glad to see. It was honestly a surprise for us this morning. But, you know, we'll take it. We'll take it. Yeah. I think it's a testament. Unifi coming soon on Coinbase too, I'm sure.
You know, sure. And I don't know if this is just my naive perspective, but I tend to look at the coins that get listed there, and they do have a lot more of a sustainable community typically, or there's some certain community team attributes that you see, and I think it's a pretty cool plus to get that, and then you tie that together with, as you said, where you guys are within your DeFi life cycle. It is just starting. Like, this is like the bleeding edge of it. It's like just starting. So if you're a developer out there that's like listening to this, there is a lot of opportunity here that doesn't exist on other blockchains. I can't think of another blockchain that is listed on Coinbase that is this fresh into the DeFi space. So I would say there is a huge opportunity here for developers to come on in, build stuff on, launch on. I think that's great advice.
Absolutely, yeah. And I was just saying that, you know, there's a huge opportunity. So whether you're a VSC aggregator, Polygon aggregator, you know, you build some tools for these other networks, bring them to IoTeX. Zero configuration required, fully Web3 compatible. And we've always had this vision at IoTeX of what we call DeFi OT, right? It's kind of using real world data from devices like this one, like Pebble Tracker, in order to trigger financial or settle financial contracts, right? Whether it's supply chain finance or insurance, but the pure DeFi stuff, the things that we're used to, the lending, the borrowing, the collateralization of digital assets, and in the future real world assets, that's really going to be an interesting design space as well. So as we chip away at building some of these more DeFi primitives and inserting IoT into them, there's just a world of opportunity here on IoTeX. So it's something that we're really excited to pursue with awesome partners like UniFi.
Well, dude, and this was just a thought that I had. We're not doing this, but this is a thought that I had, is with the Pebble Tracker thing, one of the biggest issues that's kind of out there is the oracles. So all the oracles, that's where people get hacked. That's where lending platforms collapse. That's where flash loans like destroy developers. But the reason that like those things get hacked is because people take out flash loans and they do some single block crazy price discovery that influences some lending contract to make it like provide the wrong information. But if you have a physical asset, like a physical real world asset, that can't happen. And so there is some cool opportunity there with oracles and Pebble Tracker, that kind of stuff that could be done. That would make that, I feel like, a lot safer, and right. We're not going that direction with lending, but somebody should. Like somebody should do that.
It's somewhere down there, We're gonna meet in the middle there, But even things like random number generators, verifiable random numbers from this secure hardware device, there's so much different opportunity out there. We got some questions in the chat here. Reminder for anyone that's watching in the chat or watching around, any questions for IoTeX, any questions for UniFi, hopefully talking about uTrade V2, drop them in the chat. The Rebel Coder, who's tuned in to our past few live streams, I recognize your name. Thanks so much for joining, man. Is UniFi currently built into any wallet? It would be amazing to have a native integration into IoPay or Trust Wallet. We mentioned this a little bit before, but yeah, uTrade is fully Web3 compatible, right? So our Web3 compatible wallets are MetaMask. You can set a custom RPC endpoint to the IoTeX network and use MetaMask directly with UniFi. And also IoPay Mobile. The mobile version of IoPay is fully Web3 compatible also. So you can start to provide liquidity, trade, and eventually farm things directly on mobile. But maybe Julian, talk to us about that decision. What you're seeing in the space. As a lot of these chains are starting to embrace Web3 fully. What have you been seeing about the availability of wallets and the decision making around UniFi being Web3 compatible?
I just feel like it's just it feels like one of the areas that the blockchain space is actually making things more accessible for like non-blockchain people, and I think that's a solid direction. It's lighter. It's much more convenient for people. It's much more convenient for developers, And when we talk about Web3, you guys are working with MetaMask. That's a great standard, and that just makes it so simple to integrate. I think that's great. I think that in regards to what you're talking about, Rebel Coder, I think you're talking about like a native app within the wallet itself. Yeah, that's absolutely a good idea. That's a good direction to go in. But as I already did mention, we're fully Web3 compatible as well. So you can navigate to the web address there, and you can interact directly with your wallet as it is. I think Web3 is really kind of where the space is starting to shine a little bit and kind of show how easy it can be to work with multiple blockchains. It's great.
Absolutely. It's all about compatibility and interoperability at the end of the day, right? And just going back to why I believe in UniFi is you guys have been embracing this cross-chain thing way before anyone really was taking it seriously, right? And I think the hardest challenges are the most meaningful, right? So it's great to see you guys launching on the eight of the top blockchains and starting to chip away at connecting value between these chains. It's just unthinkable, kind of the network effects of that. So just want to remind everyone, check out the UniFi and IoTeX protocol partnership blog. We published this. It's going live tomorrow, August 11th. Do we have a specific time, Julian?
Oh, I don't, but Steve is here. Steve, do we have a specific time? I'm not sure.
Steve's gonna holler in the chat. Yeah,
he probably will. But no, I don't have a specific time. I'll let you know.
We'll definitely blast out the time on Twitter. Yeah. So pay attention to our feed, and yeah, just check out the great features of uTrade V2. It's a step evolution compared to uTrade V1, adding amazing developer, trader, user features that are going to make interacting with DeFi on IoTeX much easier. But it's not the end, right? Maybe Julian, we touched a little bit about uStake and the lending things that you got going on. Okay, here we got an answer from Steve. Usually around 1 p.m. UTC, but we'll shout the official time in a bit here. But what are we looking forward to in the future, Julian? Whether it's just broad DeFi related, like what's caught your attention lately, and how are you going to apply that to the next phases of UniFi?
Well, one of the things we came to early on in our life cycle is that time makes a big difference on the space, and we've been in it for a while, long enough where I hope that we can see 3 years ahead. I hope, we've been here for 3 years now, and I'm hoping we can see 3 years ahead. And I feel like just doing that is a differentiator, just doing that alone, because a lot of these blockchains there or concepts out there, they may not be planning that far into the future. And so I think just doing that, focusing in on, hey, we're going to be here. We need to build and focus on our community, build up our reputation. That's what we want to be. We want to be the sustainable community that's out there, and that's basically it. That's our focus today, and it's going to be our focus into the future. And I think that very much influences our perspective here. And when I hear about things like upcoming regulations and upcoming new technology developments and things like that, those all play so well with a company that has a future perspective. We're making sure that we lay the right groundwork from a tax, regulatory, business perspective, and at the same time, we're focused on hiring people that share our mentality. And so building out the team that has a similar mindset and giving them that kind of time frame, that future perspective, makes it so we can sit down and study technology as it comes out, build the things that work great. And I think that probably the near-term major focus that you're going to see from us is going to be a lot more DAO related. So absolutely, the DeFi stuff is super active and it's constantly going forward for us right now. But on the business side of things, I would not be surprised to see a lot more push on that part of the business, pushing community development, community voicing, DAO style operations, things like that, and us trying to encourage the community to take a much more active stance in how these smart contracts we develop operate.
Absolutely, decentralized finance is here. And decentralized finance is here on IoTeX, and we're just really excited to see where this road takes us. Really encourage everyone to try uTrade V2 on August 11th. You can even start to port your liquidity over from uTrade V1 to uTrade V2. But Julian, how do people learn more about UniFi and about uTrade V2 outside of the blogs?
Yeah, I think the best thing to do is follow us on Twitter. Check us out on Telegram. Come in, ask questions, try and break it, give us your opinion, give us your strong opinion, your criticism. That's great. That's how we've gotten to where we are today. That's awesome. And that's how we're going to continue to grow. So I invite it and join the conversation.
Absolutely. We got one more question here from Out of Context GRP. What would you recommend for a person who's just entering the space when looking into IoTeX or when looking into UniFi? How do you, how would you summarize like the opportunities in DeFi? You mentioned all the things about the regulatory side of things. It seems like the infrastructure bill yesterday didn't go as planned, but it's starting the conversation about why decentralized finance is a candidate to replace some or eventually all of what we have going on in the centralized world, which is opaque, which is corporation centric. For those that are seeking a more user centric and transparent way to manage their money, how do they get started? What's the first thing that they should think about when entering the DeFi space or the blockchain space?
I think that everything just takes time, and keep it and don't put too much pressure on yourself to like, move around too quickly. Just do what you're comfortable with. I would say, I think really good things to do would be, for example, staking is a great way in. That's a great entry. Because at that point, all you're doing is saying, hey, I do hold IoTeX token. I know I want to for the next X amount of time. So I'm going to start staking and join the conversation. Probably the next step up from that is, make sure that you have some kind of Web3 application, such as MetaMask. Use that to kind of send, receive tokens. And if you do want to get involved with DeFi, the simple way in is use it to trade some tokens here and there, provide some liquidity to tokens you believe in and want to be a part of, and kind of learn about that. I think those are great ways in. And probably the safest advice would be, go at your own pace. Don't feel the pressure to do X, Y, and Z, because there's a lot of media out there, and I feel like it's kind of designed to influence people. So take your time and do what makes sense. Do what you're most comfortable with. That's what I would suggest.
Yeah, the great part is there's so many flavors of what you can do, right? With different risk tolerances, different yields. Of course, risk equals reward at many times, right? But staking IoTeX is a great start, as Julian said, right? You can do that at member.iotex.io, and more importantly, you can vote for the UniFi protocol node, which is just getting off the ground, right? It's going to soon be paying out rewards in UP tokens. Right now, it's still paying out rewards in IoTeX, which is a great way to start staking and showing your, just being part of the network and helping not only to secure the network, but also supporting UniFi as a delegate and also earning great rewards in the meantime. And I would say, the next level is starting to dive in these liquidity pools and farming opportunities, right? This is the question I get a lot, is about like, what is the first thing I should do when I get into crypto? And the first thing I say is, Blockfolio is giving you 8% on all of your USDT. I mean, find 8% in the real world, in any kind of bank or a centralized institution, and that's it's a gold mine, right? So, but above and beyond that, finding even higher yields in very safe environments like the UniFi protocol, like uTrade V2, you can even earn even more yield on your assets there, right? So starting safe and graduating and educating yourself into more advanced and higher yielding opportunities. I think that's definitely the path everyone should start to explore.
I think join the conversation, be a part of the dialogue. That'd be my strongest piece of advice, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to allow people to learn about these things and just find the resources that they need individually. So I think that's an important part of it.
Absolutely. And record player 3, I think this is great advice. We welcome all the UniFi folks into the IoTeX channels, and all the IoTeX community out there. Definitely join UniFi's channels, because this is not just a one and done, no substance partnership. This is the second stage of a very long partnership between our two projects. So with that, Julian, just want to reiterate, UniFi protocol uTrade v2 launches on IoTeX tomorrow, August 11th. Stay tuned for the official time. Any final words for all of our viewers around the world?
Yeah, super excited to be here. If you guys see anything, you want to contribute, you want to be a part of something, want to build, reach out. We're always open to the conversation.
100%. So whether you're a developer, potential partner, building on top of these tech stacks, there's so much to do. So definitely give us a shout. And this is just the start, man. Really excited to see this go live tomorrow. I'm going to throw in some liquidity as soon as I can. And yeah, I think the chat is excited too. Shout out again to Metanix, and shout out to everyone that's watching. Much more to come. Yeah, a lot of great things going on between our two projects. So with that, I think we're gonna call it for the day. But any other question you guys have, definitely reach out to us directly on our social channels, and we'll see you next time.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks,
See you guys. Have a great week.